Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Walk and Talk with Lady SJ. So, we are back here with another video. And yeah, let's just get started. When I say we, I mean me and the Holy Spirit. So, I only have two scriptures, and today the word I have for us is basically not to fear. So, this Christian journey, I have discovered that sometimes you can feel quite alone, even though they are brothers and sisters in the faith, and you can go to you can fellowship with them, but it's a race, and sometimes it's you against yourself, and we need to stay encouraged, and this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, to encourage myself, but also to encourage those out there. Today we're going to be looking at Hebrews chapter 13, and God reminds us not to be fearful. The context of the chapter actually is about conducting ourselves morally, so this idea of having a moral compass, which in the world we live in can be quite hard to obtain. And I speak this being someone who has fallen into sin and someone who hasn't always conducted themselves in the most morally perfect way, but I'm still the same person who has experienced some of those things and made some of those wrong decisions, and looking back and just realizing that no, I want to fully follow my Christian faith, and I want to follow that narrow road that is going to lead to life. And this is the kind of content that I want to focus on. It's the how do we live in this narrow path, and what do we really have to do. So join me. Let's get started. So Hebrews chapter 11 verses 6, Bible says, let your conduct be without covetousness, and be content with such things as you have. For he himself, he said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. So we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper, I will fear not. What can man do to me? Let's read that again. So we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper, I will fear not. What can man do to me? So here I want us to think about how often we do fall short of God's grace and God's mercy. And keeping a moral compass is not easy. And you watching the video would already be convicted right now of some of the ways that maybe you have not acted in the most morally pleasant way. Whether, if you have, I can't speak for everyone, but some of us who have, fallen into sin, and sin can be anything, whether it's drinking, whether it's engaging in acts that are just not very, that you wouldn't boldly confess and say, oh, I did this. It's more like, oh my gosh, did that just happen? But I don't want to focus and highlight the sin. I want to focus and highlight on knowing the right thing to do and doing the right thing. I want to focus on getting out of the sinful ways and into the light. I want to focus on us shifting our focus on the light. you know, magnifying prioritizing God. And Jesus never said it's going to be easy. So here today, I was given this message that fear not, Lord, the Lord is our helper. You know, God, how can you help me here? God, I need help here. And I've asked several times for God to help me, and you know, in my sense, you know, things that I wanted God to get me out of, in ways of thinking, especially negative thinking was something that I was suffering with. And I was just praying to God, help me not to be a negative thinker, and I couldn't reprogram myself, but constantly allowing the word in me really did help. Yeah, we cannot be carried by various doctrines. You know, some people still don't necessarily believe they're Christians, but they could be like, oh, well, they might have some doubt sometimes, or, you know, is this completely true? And I always put it this way. We're living in a world where we have two options, where we can be righteous and where we can be sinful. We're living in a world where it's black and white. Jesus is telling us that at the end of this life, there is a heaven. And in the heaven, we can live peacefully. And in the heaven, this is how you have to act. The Bible is one of those incredible books that gives us a moral direction, you know, and a God who actually communicates, you know, and there's so many people with testimonies out there. So why not shred yourself off the filth? Why not choose Christ? Why not completely surrender our lives? Every knee will bow at the end of the day. Still emphasizing that we are victorious. We are starting from a place of being victorious. And it is time, high time, for us children in the Lord to fully submit. So, the next verse we're going to read is Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 19 to 20. I call heaven and earth as witnesses today against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Therefore choose life, that both of you and your descendants may live, that you may love the Lord your God, that you may obey his voice, and that you may cling to him, for he is your life and the length of your days, and that you may dwell in the land which the Lord swore to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give to them. And this is why I've completely surrendered my life to God, you know. And as much as I've been testifying to people around me, like, you know what, I've completely surrendered my life to God anymore. I am no longer wanting to be confused. I am no longer wanting to be in the sideline. Oh, yeah, I believe, but my heart is not completely convinced. By faith, okay, by faith, I am declaring that I've completely given my life to God. My heart. Nobody can truly see your heart but God anyway. So this is a race. And I'm not on the start line anymore. I am in the race. And in a race, everyone is numbered. So I want life for me and for my children and for their children. There's so much to gain.
注定分离，挂念着不敢讲，爱在心中无声。